Do you know the number one mistake sellers make in this market? I'm Lauren, and this is Raul with the Schrader Group, and we are going to discuss how overpricing your home can cost you time, money, and potential buyers. When we talk about marketing a home, most people think about photos, staging, and online listings, but pricing is actually a huge part of marketing. Why is that?
Well, it's the first thing buyers see, right? So when we look at what we're in right now, our climate, we're in a buyer's market. So sometimes the old adage is, hey, we'll set it up higher and then we'll see what ends up happening. That way we leave a little room for negotiation. But the problem is, like, let's just say 500 or a 485 house, right? $485,000 house. Let's say the client or you say, hey, I want to see if we can get it up to 525, see what happens. That way there's some negotiation in between. We're able to bring it down a little bit. The problem with that is you might actually lose a real buyer at the 485, 490 price range because they're only searching up to what they're qualified for.
Right.
So if we're looking at a 485 or middle of the 480s or even 475s, they might have a search from 425 to 500 max. So if you jump into a 525, you're losing them altogether. So they're not even going to get brought up to speed with this listing. And then on the flip side, if you're looking at something that is on the lower part of someone's 500 to 600, they're going to look at it, but that's not really their appetite for what they're looking for. So I think pricing is crucial, especially in a buyer's market, because they know what they want, they know what they can afford, and they're looking to try to get the best deal they can.
Absolutely. So what happens when you overprice a home?
Nothing really. I mean, if you really think about it, you go too high, you're going to wonder why you're not getting showings. You're going to wonder why you're not getting any likes. Yeah, you might get likes on the Zillows and those other apps, but you're not getting any actual showings from qualified buyers. So sometimes like that scenario I said at 485 list price is what the true number should be. And you go too high, you're going to be getting crickets. And when your time on market is higher and higher, the quality of the offers that will eventually come in, even if we start making the reductions, is going to be less valuable because they're going to think that they're doing us more of a favor than what we're really worth. So I think at the end of the day, when we go in and we evaluate the house, let's go off the market because it's a lot easier to get a better price with better incentives, offers, whatever the whole package looks like when we're fresher on the market versus when we've been on the market for a while. So overpricing definitely is one of those daggers that, affects a listing.
So true. So how should sellers price their home?
Yeah, so the biggest part is getting data. I think I'm a big nerd when it comes to data, but I think that it's super important because then you could find the trends. You could kind of find that silver lining. So obviously, you're going to look at the recent activity in the market. You're going to look at a comparable market analysis, which is going to break everything down within the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and so on, right? Because right now, our market is yielding what has happened in the last 3 months. Nothing matters 2 years ago when houses were selling for over ask price, 3 years ago when things were just going through the roof. Now it's really getting back to the acclimation of what is our house worth today. So the data is really crucial. And what I like to do is I like to re-engineer it a little bit. So when I go on a listing, I could tell you if there's 10 houses on the market, I could tell you A, B, and C houses got 3 showings, but D, E, and F got 13 showings in the last week because I'm able to see that honey hole of what the price point is to get that buyer into your house. Because if the buyer doesn't get into your house, we're never going to get anywhere. But then we got to look at the trend, see what's happening. Are one stories selling a lot faster than the 2 stories or vice versa? Or is it the yard or outdoor patio? What is that opportunity cost for the buyer? And I think all those factors come into play. And then we put our best foot forward with the staging and photography. And I think all those things help get you to that finish line.
What advice would you give to sellers who are worried about leaving money on the table?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is trust the market, trust your local agent, because if we get into that notion of my uncle thinks we're worth this and they're living in Dallas, it's not the same market.
Right.
And you don't know whether we got builders around us. We don't know what's going on around us, the development that's coming through. But trust the market and don't chase a trend or an idea that might actually work out against you, because I'd rather trust a 485. I know we've used that number a couple of times. I'd rather trust a 485 solid number than try to chase a 525, have to reduce it to 5, then take an offer at 460 because that's the only thing on the deck, and we don't have very many options from there. So pricing it accordingly, trusting the market, trusting your local agent is probably the keys, and then just believing in the market and knowing that everything's turning.
Overpricing your home might feel like you're playing it safe, but could actually hurt your sale in the long run. Please feel free to reach out if you'd like a CMA and subscribe to our channel to learn more.
Thank you all so much. Y'all have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon.